What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik, and UFC 221 just went off. The last fist on the face is barely being recoiled because it's just that fresh. We're coming to you with the recap just that quick, as usual, as we do every weekend. My man Nazar is with me to go over the fights. Did you enjoy what you saw today, Zar?
I absolutely enjoyed what I saw, but I got to be honest with you, man. Listening to you over these past months, however long we've been doing this, I no longer have an appreciation for the prelim fights. Now I'm just wondering, is Mazik going to think either one of these guys got a shot at the title? If not, forget about it. So I was not enthused. I'm half watching them. I used to study up on those too because I wanted to surprise you with my knowledge. You'd be like, oh, he's trash. They're not going to make it. So that's the only part I don't enjoy now is the prelims because I know you ain't going to like none of these people.
It's like this, man. In the prelims are made up of it's like two different tiers, right? You got, well, I'll say three tiers. You got newcomers who are just filling a spot to fight somebody who they may have some sort of some sort of promise. They
Okay.
think that this person might be good, so now they just got somebody for that person to fight. So you got that person. Then you got the person who is already has hit their ceiling, and now they scraping their back off the ceiling. Have already hit and they're already on their way falling down. Okay.
Okay.
Then you got the person who is the really up and coming prospect who is like, okay, watch this person because we don't know, they might be that dude or that girl.
All right. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So that's pretty much in the prelims. That's what you're looking at. Okay.
All right.
So unfortunately, the smaller percentage of those people are the ones I just said last. Okay. The majority of the people in the prelims are that come in that first two class, right?
Okay. Got it.
So
Got it.
that's just what it is. But this card was absolute trash on paper. It was just terrible on paper. It looked like the worst thing ever. But I had a feeling that there was going to be some good stuff in it, and it started off really bad, really, really, really bad. Like I was like, oh my god, this is as bad as it looked on paper. And then we got to a nice fight in the prelims, and the action really picked up. So I'm going to jump right into this right now. We're going to talk about our little awards that we started giving out last week. So we'll talk about that. But let's just go. We're not going to go to the main event. I think you guys already know Yoel Romero put the hot stuff on Luke Rockhold in the third round. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's start with the first prelim fight, which was Luke Jamo against Daiche Abe. Right now, Luke Jamo ends up getting a pretty hard fought decision victory in this fight. He almost got stopped though in the first round. Daiche Abe was giving him the work in the first round. But I thought that Jumo, he came back strong in the second and third rounds. It was weird because I don't know if this is a fight because you told me I made you stop paying attention to it. But early in the fight, Jumo was having a hard time closing the distance. And he was getting caught trying to close distance. And so that's how he ended up getting buzzed a couple times in that first round. But in the second round, he had shook it off. But the biggest factor in this fight for me, Azar, was Daiche Abe was out there with Francis Ngannou's lung capacity.
Mm.
He had borrowed the Cameroonian.
That's cold. That's cold. We gonna be on that brother till he shows better.
Until he come back. With a certified cardio plan. We're gonna be doing it. But Daichi Abe was dog tired in the second round, and he was so tired I thought he was playing possum. Yeah, like
Like rope a dope.
I'm like he can't be this tired already. He don't. I mean, he's not like we're not talking about a heavyweight or a light heavyweight. These are lighter guys. You don't generally see the smaller guys get tired that quick. And it wasn't like there was all of these different grappling sequences in the first round. It wasn't. It was all stand up. And I'm
Mm.
like, why is he so tired? But he was popped in the second round, and Jumo turned up the heat, and he took the last 2 rounds and he took the fight. He took his record to 13-4. Daichi Abe dropped. That was actually Daichi Abe's first loss of his career, so he went to 6-1 after that. He's got to address the stamina issues if he has any chance of doing anything significant.
Was
Period.
he fighting 6 1-round bouts
Uh,
with as tired as he
the
was?
funny thing of it was, the first time I saw him fight, he knocked the guy out. I don't know if I can't remember if he knocked it. He hurt his opponent in the third round. So I don't know if his training regimen this time consisted of walking to the refrigerator to get a sandwich. I don't know, but he did not have the win. He did not have the win. The next prelim was Teruto Ishihara against Jose Quinones. Now, honestly, I thought this was a very bad decision. I thought Teruto Ishihara deserved the decision. I thought the judges just got it plain wrong. Um, I thought that all of the more telling blows in the fight were landed by Ishihara. He hurt Quinones at the end of the first and second round, actually knocked him down at the end of the second round. And I thought, now I'm a leg kick guy, right? I
Mm-hmm.
totally think that leg kicks don't get enough credit from the judges most of the time. But if you got stunned or floored and you comparing that to you landing some leg kicks, I think the guy who stuns the guy or floors the guy should have the round if it's a somewhat close round. And that's what I thought we saw in both the first and second rounds. I did give the third round to Quinones, but I didn't see any. One judge had it 30-27 Quinones. I'm like, bro, there's no way.
Well,
You know,
I think it's interesting that you said that the judges can't see these stats
right,
that we get to see, right?
right.
But when you look at the total strikes and strikes percentage, Quinones was winning that 54-35 and then 52% to 31%. So it's almost like they had some stats they was looking at, like, oh, this guy clearly won,
You, you
and weren't looking at effectiveness.
you're correct with that. They don't get a chance to look at the stats, but I think they were judging the leg kicks
Okay.
because the striking disparity was really due to the leg kicks. Because aside from that, I mean, he was popping the jab a little bit, and Ishihara was more loading up for shots. But I didn't think that there was any significant damage being done from the strikes that Quinones was landing. Now, if Ishihara hadn't hurt him at the end of those 2 rounds, then I would have said, yeah, well, Quinones won both of those rounds that were pretty much uneventful.
Okay.
But when you get dropped, that's an event. You know what I mean? So I just, yeah, I didn't think it was the right decision. But at any rate, Quinones he has 4 straight wins and he's 8-2, and Ishihara drops to 11-5-2. There was a time where Ishihara looked like he was a really hot prospect, but he has fallen on some hard times for sure. He has a charismatic personality, even though if he became any bigger of a star, he was going to get called on the carpet for some of the stuff he says after fights.
Okay. All right.
Like, he was saying some stuff, and I'm like, bro, it's just a matter of time before somebody tells you you can't say that. So, I mean, like, because you heard what John Anik says the only thing that he loves more than women is landing headshots or something to the. I mean, the dude, man, every time he wins, wherever city he's in, he says, "Where my bitches at in this city?"
Oh my God! Stop it.
Every so
Because
it's
I
like,
didn't understand why John had said what he said. I was
yeah,
like, that's a little crazy.
yo, no, Teruto Ishihara is the one that's crazy. I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, can you say that where you're from?
That's probably why he's saying it, because he can't say it where
Because
he's
he
from.
can't say it. He's like, hey, this is America. I can get away with anything, right? That's what they told me. No, bro. You know, if he had ever gotten an endorsement, he was about to lose it. It's like, bro, that's not what goes on here. So
Real quick. What was your fight score for these first two?
oh yeah, I thank you very much for reminding me of that. Actually, I didn't give away a really high fight score until later in the card. But the fight score for the first fight, Luke Jamo Daichi Abe, was pretty decent. I gave it a 27.9.
Okay.
Teruto Ishihara was 8, and Quinones was only 18.96.
All right.
So
I'd agree with that score.
yeah, there wasn't very much happening. I mean, there wasn't much going on there.
Now,
All right, so
full disclosure,
yeah.
because of the unique Mazik effect, I was cooking wings on this
Look,
last fight here.
look at it. Look at it. Look at it. So you're gonna blame me?
Yeah, man, because I used
So
to be fired up for these early fights, and then every time, without fail, you'd be like, "Nah, man, ain't another one of these guys got a prayer."
this man can do nothing. Go ahead and cook your wings. There's nothing going on here.
so,
Now, I
so
mean,
what happened in this third fight, brother?
here's the thing. Like I have a way. Like I can enjoy a fight for just being a scrap, but I don't enjoy it as much as I would if it mattered. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay,
So these fights I watch for like a different reason. To me, honestly, really, if I'm really being honest, these fights are really for like DraftKings fans.
okay. That
You know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
Because
Yeah.
every fight can be the biggest fight on the card if you play in DraftKings.
Right.
So that's what it becomes for. So the next fight was Mizuto Hirota versus Ross Pearson. Ross Pearson is one of those guys that okay, you know, remember when I talked about those tiers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ross Pearson is the guy. He's hit his ceiling, right? He hit it. He hit it about probably 3 or 4 years ago. Uh, he's competitive. He's tough. He looks the part in the octagon, but he can't beat anybody of any real substance.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't even think he won this fight. He certainly didn't win 30-27 as one of the judges said. I mean, he nearly got floored. His butt almost touched the canvas because he got caught with a left-right combination in a round where there weren't a ton of strikes being landed by either person. How they figured that he won all 3 rounds, it was beyond me. If we're going to talk about significant strikes, Hirota outlanded him significant strikes wise, 81-62 in the fight.
Ooh.
So by 19 more, So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, right? Because I believe in fairness, right? No matter what nationality or gender you are. So
Right.
I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, the Asian fighters are not getting any love tonight because Teruto Ishihara was supposed to win
Oh
his fight.
man. Yeah.
And then now Hirota gets cheated. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to say nothing yet because we got a couple more Asian fighters coming up. We're going to see how it goes. But I'm like, yeah, if I'm an Asian fighter, I'm trying to finish the fight because it don't look like I'm getting no love from these judges.
You seen a theme develop as
I'm
the
like,
fight went
y'all are
on.
being treated like African Americans right about now. So I don't know what's going on because it's rough. It's rough right now. So, but we said we'll wait a little bit. But yeah, I thought that Hirota probably deserved to eke out that win, and he definitely did not deserve to lose 30-27 on a card. That wasn't. Yeah, no. That wasn't right. But Ross Pearson had lost 4 fights in a row before he won this one. He's now 22-12, so he snapped that skid. Hiroto dropped to 19-9-2. So if you listen to these records, right, of these guys, right, that I'm telling you about, you're seeing what I'm talking about when I'm saying the different tiers of where these guys are. By the amount of losses on their record and so on and so forth, right? If you're following, you see what I'm saying, right? Did I lose you? Yeah. So you see what I'm saying, right? When I'm talking about, as you see the records of some of these fighters who have lost, you see what I mean by these tiers.
Yeah.
22-12, 19-9-5. These are not records of contenders unless you're a heavyweight and your name's Mark Hunt. That he's the only
Understood.
guy with one of those types of records that they allow to be considered a contender most times, right? So this fight, I gave this one only a 17.75 on the fight score. So you didn't miss nothing.
All right. Fantastic.
Right. Now the next fight is when the card started to get good. Juicy Formiga against Ben Wynn. Man, oh my. The spinning back fist that Juicy Formiga landed on Ben Wynn was from hell. And Ben didn't like it. He didn't like it at all. And you know, Juicy Formiga is he is really the only real notable flyweight who has never had a shot at Demetrius Johnson. Now, I don't believe he could beat him. You know, I mean, anything can happen, but I don't think he beats him. But I mean, if you look at it, everybody else has tried, right? Why not
So
you?
why not?
Why not you?
Well, I think you know what, because you had mentioned it before that the mouse is really trying to get some high profile fights. So he's looking at Juicy like he ain't gonna juice up my pockets. You know what
Well,
I mean?
well,
Like,
you know what? We thought that, right? But it doesn't seem like he wants to take this TJ Dillashaw fight, right?
mm,
And the TJ Dillashaw fight is the biggest fight he could get from a notoriety standpoint, right?
right.
Because Dillashaw is the biggest star in his weight range that he could potentially fight. But Demetrius is saying that it's not fair for Dillashaw to come down there and leapfrog all of the flyweights from one division, and he's never had a flyweight fight, and he just leapfrogs everybody. And
Mm.
so on one hand he is correct, but if he wants big fights, that's a big fight.
Yeah, and it doesn't that happen for everybody who's going to change division for a super fight? Like you don't always change division and then fight three fights. You know what I mean? And that
Right.
defeats the purpose.
Right. It kind of does look like, you know, Demetrius is like, you know, that fight is a little tougher than I feel like having right now. But
So
he does say it's gonna happen. He did say that. He said it is gonna happen. It's gonna happen this year. But I think Demetrius is like, I'm the champion, I'm the one with the record, I'm calling these shots.
okay, all right. Well,
So
that's fair.
yeah.
With the run he's had, you
I
know what I
mean, he's
mean?
the greatest fighter in the history of the sport. So, you know, I mean, to put it like this, he's the most if you combine skill with accomplishments, he's the greatest fighter in the history of the sport.
Yeah,
Now, you could make the argument that John is the greatest fighter from a pure talent standpoint, top to bottom. But if you look at the accomplishments, now John is
right,
everybody there is to beat. But if you look at the accomplishments of cleaning out an entire division, winning this many times in a row, defending the title this many times in a row, I mean, what Demetrius has done is nobody has anything compared to this. So you know, he's crazy, crazy good. So, but yeah, Juicy Formiga catches Ben Wynn with a spinning back fist that should have knocked him out.
yes,
He was definitely dazed, but Formiga shows such a high fight IQ because instead of staying down there and trying to pound him out with these hammer fists as he turtled up, he said, "Hey, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm gonna choke him out." And the thing of it is when when a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt takes your back and starts to choke, it's hard enough to get out of that hold if you got all your wits about you. Let
right.
alone after you just got fire smacked from you with a spinning back fist. So I already knew it was because the thing of it is I don't think that Ben Wynn was with it enough mentally to even know to tap out.
Mm,
So now he's the type of dude that probably might not tap out anyway because he's just tough like that. But
right.
I don't know if he had enough wherewithal to tap out.
Yeah, that could certainly be the case. You know, I was concerned that Formiga was going to break his hand. We've seen some guys do that spinning back fist and be a little off. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
And
how Paige broke her arm.
yeah, yeah. So, I was concerned when I saw him going for it. I was like, you know, but, he landed that joint clean and finished him with the choke, man. That was clean. That was a great win. And I have kids. They watch Ben 10. I don't mind the nickname Ben 10 win. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, I
pretty
know.
cool.
I think it's one of the coolest nicknames in the MMA. You know, but it wasn't cool tonight. It wasn't too cool tonight. So okay, so now The fight score for that was 25.75.
Oh, boo! With the spinning back fist. Come on,
But the back
Mazik.
was
You
beautiful,
hating?
wasn't it? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I mean, that was one moment though. I mean, but it was beautiful.
I
It was
got you. I
it
got
was
you.
definitely beautiful. It was nice. All right, so the next fight is Jeremy Kennedy versus Alexander Volkanovski. Now I picked Volkanovski to win, but I thought that Jeremy Kennedy would give a better showing than he did. He got beat like he stole something, and the wrong people found out. It was it was it was it was bad. It was bad, man. I mean, and when you if you consider he came into the fight undefeated, that would
Yeah.
really made now Volkan. This is the third time I've seen Volkanovski fight. Every single time I've seen him fight, he has walked through his opponent in a similar fashion. Right. So you remember I talked about those tiers, right?
Yes.
He's one of those top tier dudes,
Okay.
up
Okay.
there that would be on the prelim because he's not going to be on prelims for much longer. You
I
know,
could see that, man. He just mauled this kid. I saw a kid in his last fight. I wasn't super impressed with him. I thought he was more confident than he should be. And
mhm.
so for some reason this result didn't surprise me. And
Well,
I don't know enough to know that know any different, but I just felt like Volkanovski was going to run through
well,
him.
he was one of the bigger favorites on the card. Volkanovski was. So
Hmm.
I actually was in the minority, and I picked Volkanovski, but I
Okay.
thought that Kennedy would put up a better fight because I thought he might secure his own takedown. But
Hmm.
Volkanovski looked like a little Habib Nurmagomedov,
Didn't he?
you
I
know,
mean,
with that smothering top game, and it was real. It
You
was
know,
real.
I talked about it before, Mazik. The more of this stuff I watch, wrestling might be the move if you want to get into
Oh,
MMA, man.
oh, it's
Because good
absolutely.
lord,
It's the best base. It's the best. Everybody who knows anything about this sport will tell you that it's the best base.
hmm.
It's the best base because if you've got that, the other stuff can be added to a point where you can at least get to your specialty.
Yes,
You
yes,
know, you
yes,
don't have to be fantastic with the hands. You just have to be good enough to be able to close the distance so you can get to your specialty.
yes,
You know,
yes.
so it is absolutely the best base. So, and if you look at all of the best fighters, generally, that's a part of what they do.
Hmm.
I mean, Anderson Silva is one of the few exceptions because he's not very good in that. But John was a wrestler first. John Jones was a
Hmm.
wrestler first. Demetrius Johnson was a wrestler first. You know, and most of those guys you're not gonna do much with them on the ground. I mean, an exception to
Right.
the rule because that's not his thing. But yeah, many of the greats, the wrestling is their base. So that was 14 consecutive wins for Volkanovski. And we talk a lot about guys crafting their own, like their little gimmick, right?
Right.
Or whatever. So Volkanovski's gimmick right now is he is the bad boy killer. So all
Yeah.
of the
Sorry.
bad boys. So he said this after every win. He's saying the same thing. I want all the bad boys. I'm shutting up all the bad boys. Da 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 da. Everybody with. So I can't really hate on him because this is his thing. He's carved it out. He says this is how I'm going to do it. And so we'll see how it works out. But this is what he's going for. This is supposedly going to be his thing. So I like the fact that he has a thing. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
so many people out here, they get their opportunity to talk or to speak, and they have nothing to offer, man.
Nothing. Like just they up there naked with the mic.
Yeah, just saying nothing, just
Yeah.
saying nothing. I want to give a shout out to Nuno Martins in the chat. I appreciate you coming through, and he is in Portugal, so I appreciate you for sure coming
Oh, we
through.
worldwide. What's going
Yeah.
on, Portugal?
What's up? What's up? What is up? So yeah, I definitely appreciate him coming through. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, the dude is something else. He called out Andre Feely or Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens And it was funny because you go on Twitter and Andre Feely's response was just a Daniel Cormier gif laughing.
Mm.
Like, is this dude serious? Like, who in the world is Volkanovski? But if you really want to be truthful,
Yes.
Volkanovski will break Andre Feely.
He won't be touchy after that.
Well, he might not be Feely either, but
Yeah,
that's that's not any work Andre wants.
I'm looking forward to whoever who got the stones to jump in there, because what I want to see now is what can break Alexander, what gives him problems. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
once he sat on top of homeboy, I was like, oh Lord, it was
And
just,
you know what was funny? Did you hear the thing that said that now, okay, now you know he fights 145 featherweight, right?
yes,
When he played rugby, he was 205 pounds.
wow,
So he's very strong
yes,
because that's probably even more of a natural weight for him. So he's competing at a world class level, 60 pounds lower than what he competed at another world class level in another sport.
wow, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That to me, that makes him pretty scary. You got to keep him on the feet. If you can't keep him on the feet and he gets top position down on you, he's like a massively strong Frankie Edgar.
Mm.
So it's just it's he's I don't know. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
So
Uh,
was I. I was very impressed when you see somebody dominate another fighter like that. It's hard not to be impressed.
yeah, especially an undefeated one. I mean, I don't
Yes,
care who all Jeremy Kennedy was beating. Nobody else had beaten him yet.
right.
Volkanovski got a lick in for everybody. And then he's like, I got all y'all. Don't even worry about it. I got it.
Oh,
All right. So the next prelim, I had hit the czar up about this about 3, 4 days ago, just to get him prepared for my man, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Uh, yeah, Adesanya. I'm sorry, Adesanya. I heard
hmm,
him pronounce his name. I had just been saying it because I hadn't actually heard anybody pronounce his name. I just watched some of the fights, and what I said about him was, from a physical stature standpoint, he reminds me of John Jones. His fighting style is a little John, but it's also a little Anderson Silva, even though he didn't show us as much of in octagon personality in the ring while during the fight as he had done in some of his kickboxing matches or whatever. And weird thing about it is, in the face, for whatever reason, the kid looks like Usain Bolt to me. I don't know. So
you was wrong for that.
no, he does. He looks like Usain Bolt to me. So I'm like, this kid is like, I don't know. It's something definitely different about this kid, right? I mean, he's not that young. He's 28, but I'm like, wow. So I was, this was one of the most anticipated UFC debuts in a long time. I mean, the buzz on social media right before this fight and right afterwards was amazing.
Mm.
And they did not throw him a cupcake. Not to say that Rob Wilkinson's a great fighter, but what Rob Wilkinson is someone who specialized in the type of fight that could probably give Israel a problem.
You know what? I didn't like that. If I can be honest, I felt like if this is a guy that you might be trying to put some energy behind, or you're trying to debut him, give him somebody that's going to help him highlight what he does. You know what I mean? It was like they was trying to be like, well, we don't really believe in you anyway, so we're going to throw you in there with a wrestler and teach you a lesson your first time in the UFC. So I was after you sent me that highlight video, first of all, I was hyped. I was like, oh, all right, we got something to work with. And then this dude came in there with the Russian wrestling techniques, and I was like, oh man, this brother's not gonna be able to get off.
Well, for me, I I came away more impressed
Understood.
because I'm going to tell you, this is what I wrote in the recap. I said, somehow he found a way to be impressive in a fight that I knew he didn't look his best.
Okay.
He lived up to the hype while delivering a performance that looked like he was only 70% of what he's capable of doing.
Well said. Well said. Well
And
said.
so I'm like, whoa. I'm like, the dude, first of all, Rob Wilkinson's a pretty good rep. Now, mind you, Rob Wilkinson's 11-1 coming into this fight.
Oh, okay. That puts a little bit more perspective.
You know what I mean? He's trying to take Izzy down. He gets him down a couple times, but he can't keep him down. One time he even takes him down and properly snatches away the post arm, which usually gives a person with remedial takedown defense all kinds of problems. I
Right.
hate to pick on Francis Ngannou,
Oh,
but
here you go.
the moment Stipe Miocic snatched away the post arm, that was it. Ngannou had nothing else left to offer in terms of trying to stop the takedown. The only thing Ngannou came in the octagon ready to do was to push the head down and to try to post up with his arm. If you took
Mm.
those two things away, he had no other way to try to get up or to try to stop the takedown. And
Mm.
Adesanya showed multi-layered abilities in terms of stopping the takedown. Did you see the dive roll?
Oh, yes. That was fantastic.
I mean, I'm like, this dude is really insane.
And
I'm
you
like,
know what else I like, Mazik? I like that, and when I'm cheering for somebody, right, it's almost like if they nervous in there, I'm super nervous.
right,
And he didn't look nervous when he found out, oh, this dude wants to wrestle all day. You know what
right.
I'm saying? It felt like he had a game plan. I know how to deal with this. And he took his time after he didn't start rushing after that. So it was very exciting for me to see how he handled that. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I
That
mean, he should have been prepared for that because as soon as he saw who he was fighting, he should have known the guy. I mean, he should pretty much be prepared for that with everybody he fights. There is no one I can think of in the middleweight division who is going to try to stand with him.
hmm,
I'm trying to think. Maybe Robert Whitaker, and that's the champion. He's the
okay.
only one I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe Uriah Hall.
Uriah is silly enough to be like, we're going to
Now,
have a Ninjago battle
right now,
right
now,
here, right now.
now, the funny thing of it is that Uriah, athletically and skill wise, is one of the only people who probably should be able to stand with him. But Uriah wastes so much movement.
Mm,
He wastes a lot. He uses a lot of unnecessary movement, and it eliminates his effectiveness. But the one thing that Izzy does that can go very much unnoticed as a striker is he attacks the body.
yes, I know you love that. When I saw him making them deposits, I said, my man Mazik's excited.
Oh my God, man. And these are and he changes levels and he changes the eye level of his opponent so much with his own eyes. Right? So if you watch him when they spin the camera around and you watch him striking, watch how many times he looks in the face and punches to the stomach, or looks to the stomach and strikes to the head, or
Mm.
looks to the head and strikes the legs, or looks at the legs or feet and strikes to the head or midsection.
Good
He
looking out, Mazik. I'm a rewatch tonight, and I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna look for that.
Yeah, watch how much he does that. It's almost like when it's a basketball player who's great off the dribble. And I saw a clip of Mahmoud Abdul Rauf talking about how he would gain a step oftentimes. He dribble and he said human beings are nosy. They want to know what you're looking at. So if you look a certain way, he's gonna look that way.
Yes.
And the moment he looks that way, you go the other way.
That's
And
good stuff.
and if you're as great an athlete like these guys are, you can take advantage of nanoseconds like that, just getting somebody to look away. And
Absolutely.
Izzy is, I mean, man, and I'm gonna tell you, as good as the end fight was, the dude came out there and dropped a WWE level promo.
Didn't he? Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
I said, well, just get him a star now. Get him
N-
one.
Now, Mazik, I have to play devil's advocate here. Was it just good because of how terrible everybody else normally is, or was it good? It seemed legitimately super dope to me.
It was super dope. It was super dope. I mean, he was comfortable. He wasn't out of breath. He had catchphrases that it seemed that he had pre-prepared.
Yes.
Uh, I'm the new dog in the yard, and I
I
just piss
just
all
piss.
over this.
Yes. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And then they showed a clip when he walked into the octagon. He imitated, like, literally pissing on the octagon when he walked
No,
in. When he
I didn't
walked
see
in
that.
before the fight, he had did it already. So he had already planned all of this.
That's fantastic,
So the
man.
dude
That's
is
fantastic.
he is a natural crap talker. You can just
Yes.
tell. You can just
Yes.
tell that he could be playing basketball with you. He could be playing the video game with you. This is what he's gonna do. And,
Absolutely.
man, and if you would have seen the reaction on social media to him, somebody, an MMA writer from Combat Press named Rob Tatum tweeted, um, cutting a promo 101.
Woo. Man, he didn't lie. And you know what I felt, and this is totally my feeling as a fan. I felt like the jealousy was already starting to rise because everybody know he's coming for spots. You know what I mean? Like you could just see him leaping over everybody in line right now.
Oh yeah,
Like he's
yeah,
better in the promo. He's better to talk in pre-fight.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's a packaged item ready to roll.
He's ready.
Let's get him ready to roll. So
He's ready already, man. He's ready right now. Dude, I saw another tweet. They put up a list of the top 10 middleweights in the world. Somebody said I would pick Izzy to beat 7 or 10 of these guys already.
woo.
Now, I think that might be a little premature, but I'm telling you, this is how much validation he just put. And look, as soon as the pay-per-view went off, what fight did they show?
Yeah, they showed his. They showed his. They showed enough did. Yes, sir.
You know, I'm telling you, man, he has put you to turn that style fight into that big of a splash in your debut. That was a sloppy style fight.
You're right.
That was a systematic breakdown that he ended up having to do. It wasn't no beautiful glamour kick to the face that he got to stand there and pose and go, ta-da. It wasn't none of that. He had to take his time. He had to fend off takedowns. He had to go to the body, break a dude down, and he still turned it into that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy that, as a casual fan, you will pay money to see him fight, to see him talk. You know what I mean? Like you just want to see him do well because you would like watching him,
And,
and
and, and
that was a treat.
the UFC should be falling all over themselves.
They really should, but we'll see
Because
what they do.
they too desperate, man. I'm trying to tell you right now, if I could fight, they would. I'm telling you, they they need this. They need
Oh,
because Connor got them like this.
oh man,
Say
man.
something. Say something. You won't sell but 37 pay-per-views.
What was the score on that, Mazik?
That one was pretty high though. That one it wasn't astronomical, but it was decent. It was 25.7.
25-7. I don't know, man. You're hating, but Rob was trying to make it a wrestling match,
That's
so I
what it
can see that.
was.
I
That's
can
what
see
it
that.
was. That's what it was, because there wasn't a ton of strikes because Rob laid on him. Like he was like, I'm not giving you no space to kick or hit me. And if I lay on you, you can't kick or hit me.
Oh man.
So now, if I was given a score to the promo, it would have been a 50. So now the next fight was the most disappointing fight of the card to me, because I had tabbed this one early as a potential fight of the night fight, right? Damian beat down Brown against Dong Young Kim. Both of those guys usually fight a very entertaining style. They decided tonight that we are going to do the worst thing that we can do. I mean, honestly, I give anybody credit who gets in there to fight. You got in there to fight, but this was not. You know what? I never do this, but I'm gonna read you exactly what I wrote because it's only 2 sentences. No,
Oh,
it's 3 sentences. I
oh,
said this fight looked good on paper, but in real life, it was terrible.
oh. I
Kim
think
ate
you.
that's what I said. Kim ate a ton of leg kicks, but he did the better work on the feet. There really wasn't much else to expound on with this one. That's it.
You know what? I think, and you're the professional man, but you got to get these guys. They're both dangerous dudes.
I
Like
got
you
it.
can't go in there just swinging for the fences. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna tell
one
you
bad move and you sleeping.
that it's true. It's very true. I get that, but that is a risk that pretty much everybody that steps into the octagon takes. And some people choose to push it, some people don't. And it's just what it is. Damian Brown never has bad fights. He had one today though, you know. And like Jimmy Smith had a real. And I want to ask you what your thought was of Jimmy Smith, because this was his first UFC broadcast today. Came over from Bellator. So, but like he said Damian Brown is scoring and doing well with these leg kicks, but he's not following them up with anything. He was bothering Kim with those leg kicks, so he would just kick his leg and go, I kicked you, didn't I?
That part is true. I can't take that away. That it was a little puzzling why he wasn't following that up, but I just thought it was careful, man, because Kim, he's a powerfully built,
He really is.
compact type of guy, man. And Damien's known for, I mean, his name is Beatdown, for goodness sake. So
Yeah.
I, as a fan, was able to respect the fact that they was like, yo, you can't really be reckless tonight. Tonight's not the night for recklessness. But I understand what you're saying is that there's a difference between reckless and fighting, and they
And
didn't
aggressive.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah.
You do need to still be aggressive, and that's what we didn't see.
Okay.
But it just another thing, you want to know how much they're pushing Izzy. Izzy got one of the performance of the night bonuses tonight.
Nice. Well deserved. I
So
like it.
you know, Juicy Formiga got the other one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's how that is. Now, I could see somebody else potentially getting it, maybe over. So this next fight, he might have a beef that he should have gotten it over Izzy. Tyson Pedro against Saberback Safarov. That Kimura sweep was beautiful.
Was it gorgeous? Because I was like, you know what? I don't know everything about the Kimura, right? So I was a little concerned after he put it in and the guy ended up on top of him. You
Yeah.
know what part I'm talking about? So
Yep.
I was like, oh no, did he mess up? And then he
Nope.
kept wrenching on that arm. I was like, oh no, he got it.
He got it, because when I pull that arm, you got to keep coming this way.
That's what I understood after he kept pulling on the arm.
You got to keep coming that way. You got to keep coming. Your body literally cannot stay here. You got to keep coming this way, just to the leverage and the torque on the arm. And the position that he pulled it from was so amazing. And then on top of that, in the post fight interview, when he says, we literally never trained Kimura,
Wow.
he said, but I saw it and I just grabbed it.
Mm, mm, mm.
You
Did you
know,
say
so,
what did he do? Because the guy wasn't in position for it, and he did something, and then Saparov moved back like about 3-4 inches to give him enough room to snatch that arm. I was
yeah,
trying to think about, was that something technical he did, or
it's a Kimura, it was a sweep, a Kimura sweep.
okay,
So he got on the one knee and he had Safarov on his left hip, left side, which gave him just enough space to snatch the arm. And as he snatches the arm, that causes Safarov's body to turn with him.
okay,
And then he just rolled it over. And Tyson Pedro's a big, strong guy. On top of that, he had the leverage at that point. Yeah, it
he
was.
wrapped his leg around the head though.
Oh,
That was it.
it's over. It's over.
That was brutal. Could the Safarov not tap? I couldn't see what was
I
going on
see.
with his
That's
other
what I
hand.
thought at first. But my son was like, no, Dad, look, his hand was free. He could have tapped right there. Because what I thought at first was that his other hand was trapped under Pedro.
Okay.
So I'm like, he can't tap. And because I thought he was going to break his arm.
Yes.
And Junior was like, no, look, his arm is free. And it was true when they showed the other angle, his arm was free and he could have tapped. Even if he couldn't have tapped with his hand, he could have verbally submitted.
Yeah.
Because before the
That,
fights, they go over with, or they're supposed to go over with the fighters what their verbal submission sounds like. in the event that something like that happens and they
Mm-hmm.
can't physically tap.
You know what he said? Please.
He said, he
That's
said,
what the ref heard.
he said, mm.
Hey man, I got to be honest. The last time I saw Tyson Pedro fight, I didn't get him. I didn't understand him. I thought this kid's cocky. He's this, he's that. But now I hear his story. I understand he grew up in the fight game with his dad. So now I'm a fan. You know what I mean? And he had a fantastic performance. He's very fluent to be as big as he is. You know what I mean? He's got those 2 black belts in jujitsu. Like I got to figure out the difference between Japanese jujitsu and the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But I think he's got a black or blue belt in both of those or what have you. So I'm a fan, man. I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He looks comfortable in all areas so far from what I've seen from him.
Yeah, I mean, and he's big and strong, and so he's a decent striker as well. He is imperfect. He does have some, but I think that's actually part of his appeal.
Mm,
Is that there is some imperfection to things, but then when he pulls off something that's technically brilliant, like the Kimura sweep, you're like, whoa,
right.
so it's cool. But I didn't score that horrible fight before that we were talking about. I didn't tell you the score. Damian Brown,
15.
12.5.
Ah, I knew
Hey, get it out of here. Move it to the
it.
side. It's no good. It's no good. So yeah, it was but the Pedro Safarov fight was a 25. Because there
Okay.
was a lot of strikes early. And then, the finish, believe how many strikes were there in that fight? Because you got to think there wasn't a lot of time.
Right.
So
I think 17
if you're looking
total.
at if you're looking at strikes per minute, then you saw a good number. Looks like there were 20 strikes in not even 4 minutes. So about 3 minutes. So then you had the 2 takedowns. Safarov had 2 takedowns. Then you had the submission attempt, the deep submission attempt, and the finish. So got it up to a 25. And then also the competitiveness rating of it. Because I actually thought it was going to be the fight of the night for a minute
Hmm.
because they were scrapping early. It was wild. And so I gave it a 9 for the competitiveness of the fight while it was in motion.
Right.
But yeah, it was short. But yeah, I thought it was a good fight. Tyson Pedro looks like Roman Reigns too. So
Yeah, I saw that tweet you put out
yeah,
there.
Roman Reigns. All right, so the next fight
What
was
did you think about this next fight, man?
man.
This Jake Matthews in the Leech. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was an outstanding fight. And here's the thing: I know more than one person who knows Li Jinglong personally, right?
Okay.
Look, everybody who I know or I've met that knows this guy talks about how unbelievably nice he is.
Hmm.
Like it's just like he is like one of the nicest people you're gonna meet. And John Anik even said, if you know the leech, you love the leech.
Okay.
Right. So when I saw what he did in this fight, I was like, Lee, what are you doing, bro? I mean, first of all, let's start off by saying this was the best I've ever seen Jake Matthews look.
Okay.
I mean, I was down on Jake Matthews because I remember when he first came into the UFC after Ultimate Fighter, they were talking him up like, "Oh, the Celtic kid, he's this, he's that," and I'm looking like, I don't see it, dude. I don't see it. I don't. But as they said, he came in, he was 5'9", he was 19 years old. He grew, now he's 6 feet tall.
Hmm.
So he has grown into his body. He's stronger. He's more fluid of an athlete now. He's 23 years old. He had like almost no striking when he first came in.
Really?
Saw how he was striking it because Li Jinglong can swat.
Yes.
Like he's got power. And he stood there and struck with him and only used the ground game or the grappling game after he gained an advantage on the feet. But when he had Lee in that guillotine and was going to tap him out, and Li Jinglong literally stuck his fingers in his eyes and gouged him like it was a dirty WWE match. I said, I just can't believe that. Like, honestly, as much as I love Lee, if they had disqualified him right then at that point, I wouldn't have said it was too harsh.
No, I think you got to, man. I mean, and I don't even think he did it on purpose. But when you hit somebody with the five fingers of death when they're about to choke you out, like
In the
that's not
eyes,
cool.
man. That's
And
no.
he didn't just graze them neither, man. I mean, he was in the socket, like
In the socket.
you know what I mean. So I was like, I don't
And
know
then
about
I
that.
also fought the ref. He's standing right there. And the
Yeah,
only
he
thing
tapped
is,
his,
all
tried
he
to
did
tap
was
his
tap him
hand.
on his arms. He just tapped him on his arms. Like, now you stop that now.
No, you got to get a point for that, don't you? You don't need no warning for that. Like
Something.
that's
Something. When it's that egregious, yes,
yeah,
something's got to happen. And it it just it blew me, man. I'm like, this is bad, dude. You can't. But I thought Jake Matthews handled it so well.
he did, he did.
Afterwards, he said, "Man, it's a fight, and in the middle of a fight, things happen. It is what it is. I don't, I no hard feelings or anything like that. Because honestly, after the fight, when he ran up behind him and grabbed him and picked him up, I said, "Oh my God, he's gonna belly to back slam this dude." Because of the thing, I'm like, he's about to suplex this guy. But no, he didn't do it. He just, I was like, wow. Fighters are different guys, man. The stuff that other people like, oh, I would lose my mind for that, man. They think different because they
Mhm.
do this. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And it's just a different thing. It's a different code than what most people are used to. But that fight, I scored the highest score of the night. It was a 40.7.
Ooh.
And it won the fight of the night. So the people giving out the awards agreed with me. They gave it a 40.7. I gave it a 40.7 in one fight of the night.
All
I
right.
thought it was competitive, exciting from the front to the back. Um, Even when Li Jinglong was getting hurt, he was still in the fight. He was still dangerous. There was a ton of strikes, takedowns, knockdowns, everything. Uh, Jimmy Smith had it, and we talked about giving out our awards, but he said, I thought he had the call of the night. He said, this fight has had everything. It's had drama, it's had rule breaking, it's had knockdowns, it's had everything. So I thought that was the call of the night. So, yeah, definitely. So let's see. The next fight was Tai Tuivasa against Cyril Asker,
Hang on, you the silverback.
the silverback.
Mm-hmm.
He might as well have been the pennyback because he wasn't in there but a minute.
He was the slapback tonight.
I'm telling you, slap back, lean back. I mean, yeah, this wasn't going to last long from the beginning. Tattoo Ivasa is just like a landslide. He's just like an avalanche of humanity that's
Mm,
coming throwing shots. And in order to beat Tattoo Ivasa, you're going to have a takedown game.
mm.
You got to be able to duck under some of those shots. Now he will throw a knee, so you got to be careful when you shoot your shot going double leg. But I can see somebody like now at this point, this person, and we're going to talk about him in a second. At this point, he's too high in the rankings for him. But Curtis Blades, I think, blows through Tai Tuivasa
Mm.
because once Curtis takes him down, we want to see how well you get up off the
Okay.
ground.
Okay.
Because as of now, Tai Tuivasa hasn't fought anybody who has been capable of taking him down because he's such a big, strong guy.
Yeah. Do you
But
think is he doing an Ngannou at this point where he ain't even worrying about that because he's just like nobody can, or do you think they're prepping him for that so that he'll be ready?
I think they're prepping him for that. But if you heard, he doesn't train well.
Oh yeah, my man, it's all about that party life.
He don't train well. He's like, just show me where to fight. I'll show up. I'll get it done. Because he's
Okay.
young and strong and athletic enough to be able to get by on that for now.
Right. Right.
But you haven't been fighting the higher ranked guys yet. You think you're going to just run through from Fabricio Verdum like that? He's going to take you down. And you
Yes.
better know what to do when you get down there.
And you better do it quickly.
You better. If when Cain Velasquez comes back, you think you're just going to run through him that way and he's not going to take you down? So that's the thing. I have to see what happens. They asked him, they said, what's your technique of when you get taken down. He said, stand up. That don't sound good.
Hey, it's all fun and games until you run into one of them wrestlers like we
Yeah.
seen happen to these other guys.
Like we saw happen to Ngannou, man. I mean,
Yes.
and Stipe went back to his wrestling background because he had
And
to, because I can't
and
stand
that
here
was
and
that.
fight. I can't do it. So that one obviously was very short, but it clearly was packed with action for the time that it was going on. So that one got a 32 and a half fight score because it was exciting. I mean,
Yes.
it was just straight action. Wasn't balanced. It was very lopsided, but it was action from the beginning. So we just talked about this. Next fight was Curtis Blades against Mark Hunt. Um, I played basketball with a guy who went to high school with Curtis Blades because Curtis Blades from Chicago,
Okay.
and he was on the same wrestling team with Curtis Blades, right? And the dude has been telling me, he was like, when you get in there, when you interview Curtis Blades, ask him who taught him how to wrestle. And if what this guy's saying is true, he taught him very well
Mm.
because Curtis Blades takedowns might be the best in the heavyweight division.
You know,
It,
they say that he's the only guy that, as a heavyweight, does the double legs. Why is that? Why don't more other heavyweights specialize in the double leg?
because double leg on a heavyweight, because of the size of the legs of the heavyweights, that's very difficult because these guys have a hard, heavy lower center of gravity,
Okay.
and it is very difficult. So when you shoot a double leg, if you hit it right, you gotta hoist the guy up off the ground and to take him down.
Okay.
See, if you get a single leg, I can take you off balance because now you're on one leg. I can trip or swipe out the other leg, or I can spin you around until you lose balance and I take you down with the single leg. But if I hit the double leg, there has to be a lift.
Okay.
So you got to have the technique and the physical strength to complete that double leg. And few guys are strong enough to do that to guys that are ranging from 245 to 260.
All right. All right.
But Curtis is not just doing double legs; he's doing suplexes
I thought he was
on,
going to throw his back out like
on
the
Mark.
Mark.
I'm like, this dude is, and I'm not. He's doing it in the third round.
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, man, and I was so impressed with him in this fight because he almost got knocked out in the first round. He got hurt, bad,
A couple
but a
times.
couple times, but it wasn't so hurt to the point where he couldn't think or couldn't do what he needed to do. Because when you saw him slip that punch and hit and change levels perfectly, that let you know he still had some wherewithal.
Yeah, and he flinched at him first, didn't he, to get him
Yes,
to
to
shift?
get him to
Then he
turn the
changed
tide.
levels and took it. I was like, oh, that was sharp.
Wasn't it beautiful? It
Yes, it
was
was.
really nice. It was really nice. And then just to ragdoll Mark Hunt.
Yes.
I mean, he ragdoll physics Mark Hunt like it was Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it was like he blew. I mean, it was you got 10 takedowns on Mark Hunt. 10.
10 to 14. That was fantastic.
That was just, and the crowd could boo all they wanted because I'm telling you, that was pure domination. From the second round on, it was pure. Actually, from the middle of the first round on, it was pure domination.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I was very impressed. He wants to be on the UFC 225 card, which is in Chicago at United Center. I will be there. I
Oh,
will be
nice.
I will be octagon side. So yeah, we probably, if we do our show then, I'm gonna be at the United Center when we do it. So it was, yeah, man, it was a dominant performance. I was just like, mercy. It was great. So I was very. I mean, he almost went the distance with Ngannou. They stopped the fight because his eye was so badly swollen.
Okay.
But Ngannou hit him with shots and did not knock him out.
Man, so that lets you know how hard Mark Hunt hits.
and let you know how much of a hand Blade has. Because if you took the shot from Ngannou and stayed conscious,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, and then you took it from Hunt and stayed conscious, who two of the arguably the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division. I'm telling you, Blades is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm telling you, him and Stipe, I'd like to see it, and he's moving ever so close to it because if Stipe can beat Daniel Cormier, Blades might be next,
Mm.
especially if he wins at UFC 225.
All
So
right. We got some things cooking in this division, and
it
I'm
might
excited.
happen now if they can announce that Cain Velasquez is coming back and they give
Woo!
Cain Curtis Blades. If Curtis Blades beats Cain Velasquez in Chicago, he's got to get the title shot.
Got to. He's got to.
It's no nothing else that can be said because he's going to be ranked in the top 5 on Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's what it is. But moving on to the main event,
The
Yoel
main event.
Romero.
And you got some questions in the chat too, FY. They
Oh,
dealing with some Luke stuff too. Some Luke Rockhold questions.
some Luke Rockhold questions in the chat. Let's see, and we're about to get actually right. We're about to talk about Luke Rockhold. Okay,
Yes,
we got
sir.
quite a few. Jose Rodriguez experience says, what do you think is next for Rockhold? Should he retire? Man, I'm telling you, Rockhold has to be the biggest underachiever in the UFC. All we ever hear about with Rockhold is how beautiful of a fighter he is, how he has no weaknesses. He's this and he's that, but he consistently gets knocked out by in one shot situations. Spinning wheel kick from Vitor Belfort, right hand from Michael Bisping. Now you get knocked out with the big left hand from Yoel Romero. And all we do is we keep talking about how great Luke Rockhold is, but he doesn't. Is he a former UFC champion? Yes, but he lost his championship to Michael Bisping.
The counts.
You know,
Like no disrespect.
yeah, Oldies asked in the chat. He says, "Is it Yoel Romero's power or is it Luke's chin?" I think it's both because now Vitor Belfort hit anybody with a wheel kick, they're probably going to get knocked out. So
Agreed.
that's that. Michael Bisping's is a good boxer, but one shot knockout power generally is not his thing. But he is a good puncher, a good boxer, right? Yoel Romero is obviously a freak of nature. Like I was telling Azar, he looks like an action figure. You know what I mean? He don't look like he's made out of normal human parts. The dude is crazy, right? So obviously we know he can punch. But one thing that people have to realize, a lot of times in combat sports, people say that a guy has a glass jaw. Sometimes it's not as much a glass jaw as it is horrible defense and faulty defense, because a glass jaw to me is when you get knocked out or knocked down by shots that wouldn't traditionally drop other people.
Mm.
But when you get dropped by a mammoth shot and you consistently get hit with these mammoth shots, I think it speaks more to your strike defense than it does to your chin, because just about anybody lets Yoel Romero pop them upside the head on the temple, they're going to go down. But the key is to not eat a shot like that. The key is to not get hit with a spinning wheel kick from Vitor Belfort. So I think it's a little bit of both for sure. Um, Jose Rodriguez believes that Daniel Cormier is going to outwork Stipe and grind out a tough decision. I don't know, man. I've been doubting Stipe for a long time, but it's funny because that's a fight between two guys that I generally doubt. I have a ton of respect for both of them, but for whatever reason, I it I usually doubt them. I don't know why, and they consistently show me that I should not be. But I don't know. And Jose Rodriguez also says that Uriah Hall is a head case. He got bullied as a kid. Yep, he absolutely did. But honestly, that's the story of quite a few people in mixed martial arts. Quite a few fighters in mixed martial arts are in the sport and they got into it from the beginning because they were getting bullied. So that's a common thread. uh, going on. And Nuno Martins agreed with me, said he thinks that it is both. John Smith said Luke needs to retire. His chin is done. All he ever had was kicks, and he's overrated. I would have to agree. I would say he's probably is a little overrated. Uh, Biggie thinks that everybody who's talking about Luke is disrespectful.
Obviously, Biggie lost some money on this fight tonight.
he, he thinks that they're being disrespectful. I don't know, man. I think that clearly, man, Rockhold does not ever live up to the hype. He doesn't. He looks the part. He looks the. I mean, Rockhold looks like you can take him right out of the octagon and put him in an action movie as the action as the star. You know,
That's true. And he believes that. He believes that about himself. He believes that the only time he's lost is because he hasn't been focused or he hasn't been disciplined. And if I'm focused and I'm disciplined, he believes like he should win. And when you look at the snap to his kicks, the sharpness on his punches, you're like, yo, yeah, you do look the
Ryan,
part till you catch
Ryan.
one.
So,
You know?
so I mean, he's an easy person to buy in. I picked Rockhold to win. Well, on my
Mm,
official predictions, I picked Rockhold to win. I thought he would take him in deep water, which is what he said he was going to do. I put that as my, as the, the overall thing of how I thought he would get it done. I said, this is what he's going to do. This will be his game plan. This is how he's going to do it. And then he came behind that and said, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm like, yeah, well, that matches what I thought.
right.
But it didn't happen. And
Plus the missed weight cut, right? I'm sure that figured into your decision as well, right?
no, I actually had picked Rockhold before that anyway.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I picked Rockhold before that anyway because Yoel generally struggles with stamina, right? So Yoel, um, if you look at the way Yoel is built, it's similar to Tyron Woodley, right? Just in a different weight class. So when you're built like that, generally stamina is usually an issue.
Okay.
Okay, the muscle mass zaps the endurance. So what they generally have to do is fight paced. They have to fight in burst. And if you
Right.
watch Tyron Woodley, he's learned that about himself, right? That's the way he has to fight. Woodley used to be like a house of fire all the time. If you look at early Woodley, you see that's how he used to fight. Just come out and he, because he's such a freak athlete, he's so strong, he would run through guys sometimes. But then other
Mm,
times he would run into issues
right.
with that type of approach. So now, as he's gotten older, his fight IQ is going up. He's realized he has to pace himself. He has to take his time. He has to fight in burst. And both of them, their bursts are so effective and so dangerous. At time, that's the best way for them to fight. It's almost like they lure you into a false sense of safety, and then and then can you survive these bursts?
Right.
And in the third round, Yoel got Rocco with a burst. Now, I will get on Rocco for another thing. Um, his corner told him stop standing in front of him.
Mm. They sure enough did. Yeah.
They told him to stop standing in front of him. And Rocco stood right there in the pocket and he was flicking the jab. And now Yoel was picking off a lot of them with a really high active. Yoel's hand to eye coordination is really insane.
It's sharp, isn't it?
It's very sharp. He picked off, I would say, 70% of those shots with just his hands. Just picking them off. Some of them start later in the second round and early in the third round. Rockhold was splitting the guard a little bit. And he started to land the jab a little bit more, but not nearly enough. I mean, because if you look at the amount of shots that Rockhold threw to the head, and you look at the absolute zero amount of damage that was done to Yoel's face, it shows you how many of those shots were being blocked.
Mm. Good point. Good point.
So no, Biggie was saying that somebody else was overrated. With Biggie, I know you might be new, but it's certain types of language we don't allow people to use in the chat, and you have been in violation on several accounts. So I hate to do it to you, Biggie, but sometimes you got to make a an example out of people. So we had to hide all your hide all your messages, bro. I'm sorry about that.
And then he
Uh,
called us disrespectful.
yeah. Well, usually the people who call people disrespectful are
Are
generally
disrespectful.
that's just how that generally goes.
All
But
right, all right.
it's all
But
right. We can talk about fighting without being aggressive.
yes.
You know,
Good Lord, yes.
you don't you don't let it transfer. So, but yeah, actually, I thought that Romero did a good job in the fight for sure. I scored that one a 20.25, so it was decent, wasn't great or anything like that. Totally honest, if that was two other guys fighting that weren't Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold, you wouldn't even remember that fight. You wouldn't even really, you wouldn't remember it. You
I
know,
might remember that finishing blow.
the finishing punch, maybe the finishing punch you remember, but all the stuff before that, if it wasn't those two guys in the cage, you would forget that they were fighting because there wasn't much of any real substance that was being landed until Yoel caught him with the big shot.
That's
So
a good point. That's a good
you
point.
know, but yes, now Dana White has already said, I didn't know if they were going to do this or not, but Dana White has already said he's going to give Yoel the title shot. So essentially, telling Yoel that you couldn't win the interim title really was totally inconsequential because it meant nothing. Because he's going to get the same exact benefit
As if he
that
had
he
it.
would have gotten if he did win the interim title. So
Maybe
I
he
guess
gets less money because
he
he's not
yes
coming in
because he
as
had
a
to give
okay.
30% of his purse to Rocco.
All right.
So that he does lose some money, but he still now Yoel did injure his leg. He couldn't put any weight on his left leg. I don't know where he injured it. Perhaps he injured it celebrating, running around after a knockdown. I have no idea. But he injured his leg and he couldn't walk out. He was actually in a wheelchair the uh, uh, in the lower portions of the arena, just like minutes after. So
Wow.
we'll see how long it takes him to recover. Robert Whitaker is actually recovering from a bad staph infection. So both of them are off the shelf for right now. I don't know if Dana White is saying that Romero is going to get the first shot at Whitaker as soon as Whitaker comes back. So
I thought he said he don't like making fights the night of the fight.
Dana White says a lot of things. That's not the truth. They also asked Dana White, they said, will we ever see women in the UFC? He said, absolutely not.
That's true. He did say
So
that.
can't take anything that he's saying with too much. That's what he means at that second.
Now, you will quickly throw somebody on they hit their ceiling, they done, it's over with. So where does Luke Rockhold fit? Is he now a gatekeeper? Is he, you know what I'm saying? Like where is he? What's next for Rock?
I don't think he's a gatekeeper. I wouldn't put him there yet. I think Mark Hunt's a gatekeeper, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Mark Hunt's a gatekeeper. Rockhold, before Michael Bisping knocked out Rockhold,
Mm-hmm.
Bisping was the guy who could always continuously get to the cusp of title glory. Now, Rockhold's already been a champion, right?
Right.
But Bisping could get right there, and he would always lose, right? Always get stopped, something get choked out, something, right? Perhaps that's what we'll see with Rockhold.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. I Rock. I don't know what the deal is with that guy. Because what do you tell him to work on?
Not getting hit. You know what?
Yeah.
I think if he wasn't so confident in his skills, he'd probably be a better fighter.
Yes. If he had more, yes, I would agree. I would agree. I think it's between his ears. I think
Mm.
he thinks that, but I listened to him talk about how he got into MMA. And he's always been seemingly like a guy, and when he was younger, he was a kid you couldn't tell anything.
Mm.
And because he's physically gifted, it seems like he's able to get by on that. But he gets exposed at the highest levels of what he's doing, and his inability to listen or to take or to properly respect. And it's funny because I know he respected Romero. I know he did. I know he did. He talked about it. He talked about, like he said, this guy is different. He can do things that most other people in the division can't. He said all those things.
But you know what else he would say? He's a little wild, and I'll be able to take advantage of that in between that.
What
In between.
But every fighter generally talks about, okay, but this is how I'm going to beat him. Usually, but if you listen to Rocco talk normally, he normally gives nobody any kind of credit.
Okay. All right.
None. It's like this dude is not on my level. He sucks. He said, I'm gonna destroy him. Like he talked about Bisping, like Bisping didn't even have any business in the building with him. Which made when he got knocked out just that much worse for him.
I
Because
was dying. I was dying.
you're like, this dude don't have a business in the building with me, but now I'm waking up. So, it was what it was. I mean, it was, I don't know what to do with that guy at this point,
Okay.
And I was
That's
telling
fair.
you before we started this show, I know how mad he was because in the wee hours of the morning when Yoel Romero missed weight, he was contemplating not taking this fight. Rocco was.
Mm.
And I'm watching Twitter all through the night. Around about 1:30 or so Central Time, he said, okay, forget it. I'll take it. He said, I'll take 30% of his purse. I'm the only one that can win the interim championship. I'll take the fight. He tweeted, I came here to do work and I'm going to handle my business. That's what he tweeted like 2 o'clock this morning.
Mm.
Should have been getting some rest because clearly he needed it.
All right. So what we got up next, man?
So that actually is that was the last fight. Like I said, I got a 20.5. But so the biggest win of the night for me, this is tough. It's tough. But I think it was Curtis Blades. I think it was Curtis Blades. Romero can get a title shot. Yes, he can. But there's some things involved with that. His injury, Robert Whitaker's injury, the whole nine, right? Jake Matthews made a good showing for himself. Tied to Avasa stayed on his role. Volkanovski stayed on his role. Israel Adesanya obviously impressed. But Curtis Blades, with his win, he announced himself as an elite heavyweight. And there's nobody that can really dispute that. And I think nobody else covered as much ground with their victory as Curtis Blades.
Well said. I can't disagree with that. I want to pick Israel, but when you look at it like you did, he certainly didn't cover that kind of ground with this victory. So I think the biggest win does go to him.
Yeah,
Well said.
I think it was him. Now the biggest loss, easy, Luke Rocco, easy. It's not even a second thought. I mean, you had an opportunity to secure yourself a title shot to win an interim title. You could have chosen not to take this fight, and the only people that would have been mad at you is the UFC fans. Would have been like, dude missed weight. He missed weight by first. He missed weight by 3 pounds. Came back the second time and he missed about 1.7 pounds. So people would have been like, I mean, all on Twitter last night. MMA media is tearing Romero up, calling him unprofessional. And Rockhold looked like the hero in saving the card because the
Right.
card was trash anyway from on paper, right?
Right.
On paper, this is not I can't wait to see the pay-per-view buy numbers for this because I know it's not good, right? So Rockhold like saved the card. He put himself out there for this and got knocked out.
That will
So
qualify you as the biggest loser. Yes.
yes, you lost big time in a major way.
You
So
lost it all. Your respect, your consciousness, just.
yes, left it all in there in the gates, man. All in the gate. So let's see now the least prepared fighter. That's I would have to say that's Daichi Abe. the man out there with Francis Ngannou's lung capacity.
In a much lower weight class.
Yeah, I mean, you tied in the second round, and there's been no grappling sequences.
Second place for that could be the silverback, perhaps.
So, well, you know what? I think he was as prepared as he was going. See, I looked at his name before I said that, but then I'm like, what else more could he have done?
Well said. I'm just trying to have something
Right?
competitive. You know
I'm
what I
like,
mean? You picking the best one so far.
I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, because when I see somebody, and that's to me the most demoralizing thing about combat sports, right? When somebody loses, and then you say, okay, well, what could they have done better? And you can't come up with nothing. That's 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 tough, man. That's tough
Oh, well
because,
said.
like
Well
I told
said.
you, I think I said this before. In other sports, man, you can make a trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sign a free agent. You know, you can draft a guy. But in combat sports, that's you.
man.
You can train a little bit, and you can go and get a different coach or something like that. But at the end of the day, that's you in there.
Right.
9 times out of 10, those things ain't gonna change the outcome. You probably just can't beat that guy.
That's got to be rough, man. I don't know how fighters deal with that. You know what I mean?
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Mm,
I mean, if it's a close, not if it's. I mean, I've seen some guys get knocked out and come back in the rematch, and like, I mean, Michael Bisping, the first time he fought Luke Rocco, he got choked out.
right.
Fought him again, knocked him out. So, but yeah, I can't think of anything Cyril Asker could have done better. So that's why I didn't saddle him with that one. The most interesting statistic, that one's kind of tough. That one's kind of tough.
I got one.
What you got?
Curtis Blades
Oh yes, absolutely.
with total strikes of 126 to Mark Hunt's 35. And
Uh,
I left
and
you. I left you some meat on that bone.
and the 10 takedown.
There.
Absolutely, absolutely, without a question.
Yeah. What?
That's 10 takedowns
10 takedowns. Yes.
on somebody that big.
Yeah. That he had
That
the energy, the stamina,
in
all
the
of that.
and how many in okay, 6 of them were in the third round.
Woo.
You
That's a
know
dominant
that
performance.
that's spectacular. That's what that is. That's spectacular. And I already talked about the best commentator call to me came from Jimmy Smith. He I mean, sometimes, like I said, the best commentator to call is kind of obvious,
Mm.
but when you hit it on the head, you hit it on the head. And I mean, man, I mean, Izzy was just, I mean, the body work was outstanding. The body work was just outstanding, and I can't wait to see him fight again. And
Me also.
thankfully, he didn't take much damage, so he could fight in March if he wanted to.
Okay.
So we'll see what they do with him. I hope they don't. I hope they don't spend him though. You know,
Right.
don't fight him again to maybe April. Let's don't turn him around right that quick. April's a quick turnaround as it is, but 3 fights in 2018 is pretty good for him. Fight him maybe in somewhere between April and July, and then have him come back in December card, and that's good enough.
Yeah, that sounds good. For me, it was I didn't have a call, but it was just nice to hear somebody call the fight without all the unnecessary superlatives.
Really?
that,
Okay.
that was nice, and he used a few terms that I hadn't heard before to describe some actions. So I got more out of these fights with him calling them. It was
Really?
like he was a little more. I don't want to say new user friendly, but he didn't expect that you really knew everything. So he would describe this and he just do it a little different for me. And I was like,
That's
oh, okay.
that's very interesting. That's very interesting because I do like Jimmy Smith. but I absolutely love Joe Rogan.
I love Joe also, but without having him out there, I was like, everything's spectacular. Everybody's the best.
Yeah,
You know.
yes, yes.
It was nice to have a night off, is what I'm saying.
Joe Rogan is the king of hyperbole. He is. I mean, and he don't even mean it as real, true hyperbole. But
No.
it sounds like it should be hyperbole, but it's really not. This is what he says. You know? So yeah, but yeah, I like Jimmy. But yeah, I was interested in kind of figuring out, hearing what you thought about Jimmy. I've always thought that Jimmy's work was a little bit above some of the fights he got a chance to call. Like every once in a while, he got a chance to call a good fight in Bellator, but sometimes he'd be calling the fight between two guys, and I'm like, Jimmy's better than this fight,
Mm.
you know.
Do you know
So
how that breakdown is going to work? Because like, does Joe not want to do all the fights, or now is he forced to share? Like, how is
I
that
don't.
going to work?
I think some certain travel Joe didn't want to do anymore.
Okay, okay,
So you notice this card's in Perth, Australia.
correct, correct.
He didn't want to do this one. Uh,
Okay,
Now, I do think that I believe Jimmy's doing the one Sunday in Austin, Texas. So I'm sure Joe probably didn't have a problem doing the one in Austin, Texas, but so they don't actually leave the country again until March 17th. So on St. Patrick's Day, they're in London.
okay.
Verdum against Alexander Volkov is the main event there. So we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if Jimmy's. Well, no, that one Jimmy won't be doing more than likely because that's a UFC Fight Pass card. So, and it's in London, so you can bet that's going to be Dan Hardy.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah. So, I think that's what we're looking at. I think we're looking at just a split because Joe, I think wants to do something else. Like I think he still wants to call like the biggest ones, but I think he wants to do it. And I think what you're gonna see in some of the other pay-per-views coming forward, like maybe not 222, but 223, I think you're gonna probably see Joe and Jimmy.
Oh no, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I
I'd
think you
love to
might
see
get
that.
Joe and Jimmy. So that'll be interesting. So, yep, that is all we got for you guys today. I
That's
appreciate
it.
we had a fairly high viewership today, a little higher than normal, I guess maybe because it's a pay-per-view, but I appreciate everybody that came out and watched. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe and make sure you also hit that bell to make sure you get the notifications when the videos are going up. As always, I appreciate everybody watching. Czar, you want to go ahead and sign off before I do my sign off?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Like the brother said, all you night owls, we appreciate you coming out. You can find me on Twitter at DA_CZAR, and I look forward to talking with y'all after the next fight.
Absolutely. I appreciate everybody watching as always. God bless and peace.